Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm Stephen Henderson. Last year, President Obama launched My Brother's Keeper, a national program aimed at helping young men and boys of color reach their full potential. Now, the leadership behind Detroit's effort has unveiled an action plan to provide opportunities and support for the city's young men. The goal is to make sure they are ready for school and careers.
That to overcome the challenges, to create opportunities for young men of color, it was going to take more than government. It was going to take the community, the churches, the philanthropic organizations. Everybody put your egos aside and work together.
We are going to put a reading program in barbershops. So we're going to put 100 of these reading labs in barbershops.
To be able to focus on the positive things that our students and our families and our communities all share in helping to make Detroit a better place.
As I've said, this is a national issue, and I am proud of the EAA that we are at the forefront of reversing this trend.
We believe that entrepreneurs of color from Detroit will be one of the key components of our commitment to get more and more jobs for Detroiters.
Joining me now is one of the developers of the Detroit My Brother's Keeper plan, David McGhee from the Skillman Foundation. Welcome to American Black Journal.
Thank you for having me.
So we just saw on that clip there all of the sort of leading lights of this issue, I would say, in the city, the people who are most focused on it, talking about how this will play out. You know, when the president announced his plans last year, I think a lot of people thought, sort of scratched their head. What does this actually mean, My Brother's Keeper? What does it mean to try to turn around the fortunes of young black men? We're now starting to put meat on the bone, is how I feel things are going. That you're starting to really think through what does it mean and how can it help.
Yeah, I mean, nationally, the president wanted to spark a conversation about what do we need to do to change the narrative of this particular population. And in the city of Detroit, we wanted to respond to the challenge, creating a set of recommendations unique to the city of Detroit and the residents that live here, ensuring that young men and boys of color can connect to and thrive in the new economy. Yeah,
and so you guys have been working on this for a while, thinking through what will work, how you do it. Talk to me about some of the things that are in the plan.
Yeah, a cadre of individuals, public sector, private sector, from the faith community, young people. We've had hundreds of individuals actually work over a series of months to develop a plan to ensure that young people can connect to and thrive in the new economy. So whether that's being prepared to enter school, whether that's being present, participating and progressing through school, thirdly, being prepared for career success, having an opportunity to participate in Detroit's new economy, and then lastly, changing the narrative and ensuring that young people are reared in a community that supports them and builds their individual capacity.
Yeah, and we heard Tanya Allen, the CEO of Skillman, in the clip talking about we're going to have reading programs in barbershops. I think that's a great example of the sort of ground level thinking that's taking shape around this initiative.
No, you're exactly right, Stephen. I mean, neighborhood-based literacy approaches empower and equip community individuals with the tools that they need, and what better place than barbershops? I mean, they're heavily frequented by young boys of color.
We all grew up in the barbershop,
we did.
Right?
We did. And oftentimes in a barbershop, I mean, you have a few sports magazines or ESPN on the television. But what better way for young people to engage in culturally relevant reading material? Sure. But also centered around other men of color who can encourage that reading. Yeah, so we launched the goal of implementing barbershop reading labs in barbershops, and 100 of them across the city of Detroit.
Yeah. When you think of young black men and other men of color in places like Detroit, you think of the absence around them, the absence of male role models in some cases, the absence of responsible adults in a lot of cases. How does the initiative sort of try to fill those gaps?
No, you're exactly right. I mean, initially we want to make sure, and the plan speaks to ensuring that teachers and individuals in the schools are trained in culturally competent ways so they can respond to this population. There's also an initiative to recruit 5,000 mentors by 2020 to serve as positive adult role models for men of color. I mean, for young boys of color. So we address those issues in unique in conventional ways because we can no longer operate business as usual because business has become quite unusual for this population.
Sure. What about violence, which is something that affects young men in the city far more than other people, other populations? What are some of the things we can do to try to turn that around? But, you know, unfortunately, they are both often the perpetrators and the victims of that violence in our community.
Yeah, so one of the initiatives, and you'll see in the recommendations for action, is the Team Up program with the Detroit Police Department and Detroit PAL. The police department and Chief James Craig have committed to helping Detroit PAL put police officers on sports teams serving as assistant coaches.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense, right?
Serving as assistant coaches. So you do a couple of things. One, you strengthen the relationship between young children, and police officers, but you also just create a culture of community, and you get to what I like to call changing the climate, right? So oftentimes programs and policies, we implement those things and they work to change the temperature of certain subsets of individuals or a certain set of recommendations. But until we as a community take a collegial approach and come together, that's when we can change the climate, and that's when violence, we can see violence go down and opportunities rise for our young people.
How will we be able to measure the effect of what you guys are doing? A year from now, 2 years from now, 2 years from now, the president won't even be the president anymore. He will ride off into the sunset into something else. Is this an initiative that you see taking root in the city in a way that outlives that presidency?
Definitely, and I'm glad you asked, and everybody speaking to this work should be asked that question: how are we to be held accountable, right? So first, there will be an annual report card produced on the overall quality of life of this population, understanding that the steering committee, co-chaired by Skillman Foundation CEO Tanya Allen, former Mayor Dave Bing, Councilman James Tate, and also our Mayor Mike Duggan, they came together not because this was something that was nice, but because it was necessary, right? So this actually will outlive, in this particular plan, encompassing the spirit of Detroit, this is the way that we must do business. In order for Detroit to become the Detroit we know it can be, everybody has to participate. Everybody has to have access, and all of us needs that opportunity to progress.
Well, speaking of everyone participating, who are some of the people who are maybe not yet at the table or not fully at the table who we need to sort of get signed up to help out with this?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Oftentimes when we have the conversation about improving life outcomes for young boys of color, leading those conversations are men of color.
Yes.
We lead the conversation. We stand on a mountaintop and we advocate for those who are near and dear to us, right? So to directly answer your question, who isn't at the table? We do believe that we had a good cross sector of individuals actually working on this particular plan. But the more important question is, how can we provide the on-ramps for everybody?
For people, I'm thinking specifically of like the corporate community.
The corporate community, the young entrepreneurs in the space, the creatives in the space. There needs to be a series of on-ramps to where everybody can articulate that they are their brother's keeper. And they create their pathways. The city of Detroit, I mean, we're known for putting the world on wheels. So how can we be known for the city to put the world on wheels without creating those additional pathways? So this particular plan of recommendations for action has those steps where every member of the community can find themselves in it.
Okay. All right. Thanks very much for being here, and good luck with the program.
Thank you so much.